Yesterday in English, we have started in our English learners book, we have started lesson number 2. The unit name is Look in a Book, and our lesson is Inside a Book. It is on page number 8 and 9 of your learner's book. So let's see learner's objective, learning objective. So in this, we are going to study contents of books, types of book, fiction or non-fiction books. Today we are going to talk about fiction and non-fiction. First, we have seen the types of book. So here it is. We have types of books. In types of book, we have two types of book. Storybook, functional and non-functional book. Storybook. What are storybooks? The books in which we read stories like this, Cinderella, a traditional tale. Cinderella is a name of story. Like in the last class, we have studied The Fox and the Crow. It is fiction book. What is the meaning of fiction book? A book which tells us a story, okay, which tells us a story. Bali's New Bike. Bali's New Bike is also a fiction book. Fiction book means it is a story book. We add some characters in these books. There is a story, Cinderella, fiction book. What is a Cinderella? It is a story book. It is a story book. Bali's New Bike. It is also a fiction book. Non-fiction book. Non-fiction books are those books through which we get some information. We get some type of information. They are called non-fiction books. Fantastic facts about the sea. So this is about the book is about the sea. Number B, My First Dictionary, ABC. This is a book of English in which we can read A for apple, B for butterfly, and C for cat. So those books that gives us information, they are called non-fiction book. They are called non-fiction book. And the books which give us, they do not give us information, but they are story books. They are called fiction books. There is two types of books. Boys, I'm repeating, try to understand types of book. We have two types of book: storybook, fictional, non-fiction book. Okay. Storybook means in which there are characters which are not true. We make those characters. Non-fiction books, they give us information, like our English learners book. You can see our learners book. English learners book. What is this book, boys? Does it is a fictional book or non-fictional book? So English book is non-fictional. Why? Because English learners book gives us different type of information. When we study English learners book, we get different type of information. Okay, it is not a storybook, it is not a fictional book, it is non-fictional book. Non-fictional book means a book that gives us a information. Okay, contents of a book. In yesterday, contents of a book, we have studied front cover, title, author, spine, table of content, and back cover. Here is the front cover. In front cover, we get the name of the book and the name of author, the one who write this book, okay, by Emma Grizzly. By Emma Grizzly is the name of writer. And we come to know that what is this book about? So this book is about bears. Title, we have title and we have here, this is the title of books. Busy Boats. Busy Boats are the title of book by Emma Grizzly. Emma Grizzly is author. The writer of book is called author. Jack Adler, author. Spine, the mid part of the book is called spine. And in the last, we have back cover. When we open the book, we have content of book. What we have inside, we have in contents, we have little boats, big boats, old boats, and new boats. So content tells us what it is about, what are the chapters and on which page they are. So we were talking about fiction books and non-fiction books. So fiction books tells a story. Fiction books have characters. Look, if you can see on your screen, boys, there are different books. A Cinderella, A Traditional Tale, Bali's New Bike, Peter and Wendy, Kids Who Come from Space. These all 4 books are fiction books. Why they are called fiction books, boys? Because they tell us a story. Fiction books tell us story. Fiction books have characters. So if you see in each fiction books have characters. So when you can see on the front cover of the book, there is Cinderella. So Cinderella is the character of this book. Number B, Bali. You can see a boy with his bike. So Bali is the character of this story. Peter and Wendy. Peter and Wendy. Here is Peter and here is Wendy. They are the characters of this story. Kids who have come from space. Look, if you see here, just a minute. Kids, the kid who came from space. You can see on the bench, there is a kid sitting. So the kid is character of story. And when we read these fiction book, they tell us a story about someone. They tell us the story about the characters. When we read Cinderella, we read the story of Cinderella. When we read Bali's new bike, we read about Bali's book, Bali's bike, sorry. So Bali is the character. Peter and Wendy, when we study this book, we come to know about these two characters. The kid who come from space. In this, we study about the kid. So in the fiction book tells us a story, and the fiction books have characters. Non-fiction book. What are the 4 non-fiction books? Number 1, fun, fantastic facts about the sea. If we read this book, we are going to know about the sea. My first dictionary. A for apple, B for book, B for butterfly, and C for cat. This is the first book you have studied in your life. So this is called My First Dictionary. And when we read this book, we come to know about the English letters. Number 3, look inside our world. Look inside our world. When we are going to read this book, we are going to know about the world, different things in our world. So basically, non-fiction books, they are real. They are real and they tell us real information. They tell us real information. Okay. Polar bears. Polar bears. This is the title of the book. When we read the title of the book, we understand that this is a non-fictional book, and in polar bears book, we are going to study about polar bears, their life, how they grow up, what they do in their life, what they eat, etc. So this is all information. So non-fiction books will give you real information, and fictional books, what about fictional book? They tell us story, and fiction books have characters. Fiction books tells us story and they have different characters, whereas non-fictional books gives us real information. Okay, which book is fiction? Our World or Peter and Wendy? Who is going to answer this question? Which book is fiction? Yes, Asim Abdullah.
Peter and Wendy.
Peter and Wendy is fiction book. Well done. Okay, well, very good. Peter and Wendy are fiction book. Why they are fiction book? Because they are about 2 characters. And when we read this book, we are going to read a story. Which book is non-fiction? Which book is non-fiction? So here are different books: Our World, Peter and Wendy, Rainforest Animals, Charlotte's Web, The Cat in the Hat, Harry Potter, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So here, which of the books are non-fiction? Yes, Abdurrahman Wala, tell us which books are non-fiction here.
Our World.
Our World is non-fiction. Okay, one more. Which book is non-fiction?
Rainforest.
Rainforest animals, yes. Rainforest animals and our world are non-fiction books because they are not storybooks. They are not our storybooks. They are the books that gives us information. So the books that gives us information are called non-fiction books. The books that gives us an information, they are called non-fiction book. Whereas Peter and Wendy, Charlotte's Web, The Cat in the Hat, Harry Potter, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, these all are fiction books. These all are fiction books. They are telling us there are characters in this story and they are telling us story. Okay, boys, now open your activity books, page number 6 and 7. We are going to solve these.